Hey everyone, this is Derek with OPTP. Recently, we asked Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet, in their opinion of course, for their recommendations on what tools to use and how to use them for some of the most common types of pain and stiffness. We have their answers and we're going to share them with you all month long in our Try This with Bob and Brad mini-series. We're going to get things kicked off with focus on the back. In this video, Bob and Brad share 5 great techniques for alleviating common forms of back pain and stiffness. Enjoy.
Hi folks, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Well, in our opinion, of course, Bob.
Today we're going to talk about back pain. We got 5 different things you should try, and they're all products, I'm going to warn you, but they are ones that may help you. And there's some of these things you can't do without a product.
Right.
Sometimes.
And these are things we've all worked with, and we've had success with them. Otherwise, we wouldn't promote.
Right. So let's start out with the first one, Brad. Want to start with the wall anchor?
Sure.
I'm going to, one of the things is everybody thinks you should stretch your back. And yes, there are stretches that are really appropriate for some people with some problems. But really, one of the things that almost is important for all people with back pain is to increase your core strength.
Right.
I can't really think of anybody that shouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah, it's been very common over the last 5 years. I think it's been much more promoted than 20 years ago.
Right. So Brad's going to show. You want to show stir the pot?
Yeah. So you use the stretch. What are we going to call this, Bob?
I know, exercise tubing.
Yeah,
with handles.
Yeah, the band here, and you need a place to anchor it. We're using the wall anchor. We use it because it is so handy, and we have 3 different levels. I'm going to use this on this middle level. Easy to put it on. I'm going to work. You want to go right to the pot, Bob?
No, you can do posture too if you want to first.
Yeah, I want to do posture just because posture is so important
with back pain.
Yeah.
So this is strengthening the back muscles too. So and it's not putting a lot of stress on them. So you're strengthening the muscles up in the upper back. You're squeezing the shoulder blades together. And in the lower back, you're getting some core and some strengthening of the extensors there too.
Right, because it's pulling you forward,
Yeah.
so these muscles have to engage. And then you're getting some stretching here to help your posture. More of a direct core, and this works. The transverse, the muscles that wrap around, act like a back belt. And it's a real simple exercise. You need some resistance, arms out straight, grasp the handle, as so getting an athletic stance, little bend in the knees. I'm going to tighten my core up and keep it stable, and I'm going to make circles like this, clockwise circles. Well, I'm doing counterclockwise, clockwise for your direction, and if it's too easy, you simply step a little bit farther away, and you can tell by the tone of my voice, I'm working a little bit harder here, so I'm going to go back this way.
To me, it's famously kind of the exercise that looks like you're not working that hard, but when you do it, you're like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought.
Exactly, and now you need to do both sides. I'm not going to show you, but if you're going 30 seconds or a minute on one side, make sure you do it on the other side. You're going to feel muscles kick in. For example, if you're lying down and you're doing typical sit-ups, that works one primary muscle group. This is much more functional for daily
you're
activities.
also tightening the core like you would with a normal activity.
Right.
When you were lifting something or moving something.
Or pushing a lawnmower.
Pushing a lawnmower,
Much more.
You gotta tighten that core.
Yeah.
Now, you can attach the bands to a door.
Sure, you bet. You don't.
The wall anchor is just a lot more handy.
Right.
And you'll find, we're going to show you on I believe our last product here today, another use for the wall anchor.
Right, for some decompression or traction, and that's a really unique
The
trick.
next thing we want to mention, I didn't even pull it out yet.
Oh my goodness,
And
Bob.
I have a whole series of books here by Robin McKenzie. Here it is, Treat Your Own Back.
Robin McKenzie's a therapist. He started a whole McKenzie system for back treatment. He's passed away now, but one of his primary goals with treatment is to educate the patient how to take care of themselves at home, and you're much more successful.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to continue to come in to see the therapist and spend money. He wanted you to be able to treat yourself so like if it cropped up again in the future,
right,
you'd be able to knock it down without having to see someone.
Exactly right, and that's what this book is written for the layperson. He has exercises, illustrations in here, and the whole the literature explaining how things can
Yeah,
improve.
if you go to Bob and Brad, our YouTube channel, which you may be on right now, you can type in Mackenzie, and we will go over some of his exercises. But this lays it out in a complete manner, like all the things you should do. Step 1, step 2. That would take like a 4-hour video for us to go over everything.
Sure.
So, next thing we're going to talk about, this is Mackenzie too. He was one of the first people that talked about when you're sitting in a chair. Oh, looks like we lost our connection. When you're sitting in a chair, you actually want to put support in the low back because there's this gap here. So he actually recommends putting a little support in there. Now, if you are a larger person with larger buttocks, you're going to need a larger roll.
Right.
And so this is too much for me. Look at what I do on this one. I would do better with a thinner roll.
Right.
This one's actually an air-filled one that you can adjust. And this one works well for me because I'm a slighter person and I can get the support without.
It also makes a big difference on your chair that you're sitting in. If you're using a car, which in a car, these are very important. If you got a rounded out car seat, even if you are a thin person, you might need a thicker one.
Or a couch or a recliner.
Yes.
This would probably be okay for me even in a recliner.
Right, where you got the padding. And especially if they're wore out. If you got an old piece of furniture, oftentimes they are slouched in. You need to fill that gap.
And I forgot to bring over our products here. He also has a roll that you can use at night in bed. You can actually tie it around you, and that supports your back and even the side of your back when you're lying in bed.
Right. That's a sleep roll, I believe.
Sleep roll.
The Mackenzie sleep roll.
You could try a rolled up sheet first.
Right.
And then if that helps, go ahead and purchase one of these. And with all these, what we often recommend is to actually roll up a towel first.
Right.
Try that. If you feel like that helps, especially in your car.
Right.
Then maybe you want to order one of these.
Right.
So.
Because, these have the strap to go around the car. It stays in place better.
Looks a little better, too.
Towels are just a good way to find out if you want to make the purchase.
But these are all different densities. So, again, this one's very thick, and it's also got a pretty good density.
So it's that firmer density.
But if you are, again, you have a big gap here, you got to fill that in.
Right.
So, all right. The other thing is we're going to talk about the Booyah Stick, Brad.
Oh, yes.
Now, the big thing with the Booyah Stick is it's kind of a guidance. So that if we're trying to teach you how to lift correctly, and so we actually have people do squats with these. And
in regards to back. I mean, we use a Booyah Stick for shoulders and other things too.
It's used for a lot of different things. But, Brad, do you want to point out what I'm trying to do here?
Yeah. So what we're doing is using this to get proper posture. If your head contacts here, the Booyah Stick contacts between the shoulder blades and then right at the belt line or just below the belt line, then you know your back is in nice neutral position. And that's what you want when you squat.
So we have you doing some posture squats.
So if you do it wrong, bring your head forward one. If that happens, then that gap needs to be filled in by bringing your head back. Get your head where it belongs.
Yep. And, after a while, you don't need to stick anymore.
Right.
You're going to be able to do it without it. My wife grasped this idea immediately. I mean, she's like, oh, I just need to keep my back straight when I'm lifting.
Sure.
And
the color of this, you may see it in blue, but they're the exact same product.
Sure.
Exactly.
All right. The final thing is we're going to actually talk about the wall anchor again. We actually have these hanging handles. And this is a great way to get some decompression of your back or kind of traction.
Right.
And it's very easy to do. It's very helpful. It's good for your shoulders, too, by the way.
Yeah. There's a whole book on that.
Right. But basically, you can put up two here side by side. Is that 16 inches, Brad?
Yep.
And then you can also go 32 inches if you decide you want to go wider.
You must have wooden studs and then you'll be fine. So make sure you have that in your house. Most houses in the United States do.
Yeah, you don't want to just put this in sheetrock.
No.
You'll pull it right out.
Or steel studs in a commercial building will not work either.
Which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
So basically, I do this on my brakes. I have one of these in my office.
So you hang quite a bit.
Well, no, I actually do. I actually take quite a few breaks a day.
Yep.
Just like every hour or so. And every time I do this, my back cavitates, cracks.
Yeah.
And usually what I do is the same as Brad. I don't do full weight. Usually I keep my toes on the ground.
Yeah, so you might have 50%, 75% of your weight. I do this, and it wakes you up. It feels good. It does shoulder benefits, and you can feel your back, the stress coming off your back.
And
Great for posture, too.
Right, and when you get back to your work, you're energized, and your posture is good. Now, I like to do this little rotational thing, too. It almost like it's mobilizing my back.
Sure.
And if one direction hurts, I just hit the other direction. But eventually you can lift all the way up if you want.
Get a little ab strengthening there, too.
Right. So I would highly recommend these for most people because most back problems, no matter what it is, disc, arthritis, it's going to feel better to move the joints apart.
Or decompress them, right.
Right.
I mean, you can trial this at home if you have a pull-up bar or something.
Yeah, just hang on a rattler.
But you don't want to do full weight bearing right away. You want to gently let the weight, so you can see how your body tolerates it.
What's nice about this is the wall supports you to keep it nice and straight as opposed to
it really makes a
bar.
difference being back, literally your back up against the wall.
So might be worth a try. You can give it a go. So thanks for watching. You got any advice, Brad?
Well, Bob, we need to take care of our backs, and let's not get back to it. That was a joke. I don't know what the hell.
What does that mean?